Hello, my fellow Apex snipers. Christopher Wall here. So hey, I was asked to make a quick video on how to set up a pullback entry with the semi-automatic trade assistant. This is something that I learned from Marion and other traders that have been experimenting in the Markers Plus Skype room. And once I learned about it, I just had to play with it. But before we get into the specifics, let's cover a quick disclaimer. So obviously, any decisions that you make are yours alone. With trading, there is risk, and past performance does not indicate future performance. Okay, so moving on. So some of you may have seen some results like this I've posted publicly in the forum. This comes from a setup where I'm using a 2-contract entry, and I'm actually scalping a 6-tick contract and a 9-tick contract. And this particular setup actually has it pulls to break even +1 once it hits the first 6 ticks. And then if it hits the next 9 ticks, you can pull in another $112.50 before fees. So before fees, that's a total of $187.50, which is kind of nice because a full stop on the pullback entry, we get in better by 2 ticks. So that allows us to pull our stop in by 2 ticks, lowering our risk a little bit. So this actually gets us closer to 2-to-1 risk to reward rather than the standard, which is closer to 2.5 with fees, or even 3 with fees. So let's see how this is set up. Here's a screenshot I got from Marion. This shows perfectly what I'm talking about. Right here we have an Xbox short entry with DR. Normally we would get in 1 tick below the low of this confirmed bar. And with the pullback settings, we're actually going to get in 2 ticks better. So here would be your normal entry. So right here, this is an order prints view of this bar over here. We have our trapped orders, our exhaustion box. This confirms our entry. We would normally get in 1 tick below. With the semi-automatic trade assistant, we can set it to actually set a limit order, a pending order, to get us in 2 ticks better on a pullback. So you can see that the market actually pulled back and we would have filled here. So doing that allows us to, again, pull our stop in a little bit tighter, 2 ticks better, because the ATM will set us usually 1 tick, depending on the fill, right above our entry bar for a short and right below for a long. So how do we set that up? Okay, so you're going to want to go to indicators on your chart. So right click on your sniper chart, pull up indicators. You're going to highlight Markers Plus, and you're going to want to change your entry tick offset from, I believe the default is -2 if you're using the advanced template, which is what you should be using for this setup. I use the advanced TX semi-auto advanced. So you want to set this to a 1, leave this to a 2, and leave this to a 1. Those are the basic settings for the 2-tick pullback entry. Okay. Next, just some other house cleaning. As far as the simulator settings, you want to have delay set to 0, a delay exchange set to 0, and wait for it set to 0, enforce partial fills, and enforce immediate fills. This just helps kind of eliminate some delay that might be put into if you're doing sim. Gets it a little bit closer to what might actually be happening in the live market. Next, under chart trader properties, I have it set, the stop limit offset set to 0. So the reason why I do that is I want to make sure that my limit order is set, and I'm really trying to get filled at that 2 ticks better. If you have an offset, sometimes it might fill you at only 1 tick better or right at the bottom of the bar because of slippage. If you have the offset set to 0, the market really tries to fill you there. I'd rather be filled at where I want to be filled rather than slipping in a worse position. Okay, so real quick, I'm going to show you what the pullback entry actually looks like. in a replay. So I've got this set up and we should catch a short here. Now, this isn't necessarily a super valid entry. In fact, I think it violates some of the rules. I just want to show you what it looks like in action. So you can see how it will set a limit order and fill 2 ticks better, but that's only after the bar is confirmed as a valid entry. Might take a minute. I'm trying to make this video short and sweet. Don't want to fill up all your time here. Could fast forward it, but I think it's going to happen pretty quickly here, within a minute. We're almost there.
Order filled.
Okay. So we filled, and wow, this filled a lot better than normal. So you can see our stop went to better than +1, or went to break even +1, so we locked in $75 already.
Target filled.
And there you go. So depending on the fill, normally that would be only 2 ticks better, right? But in replay, sometimes, you know, it jumps around a little bit. When I've been doing this when I've been trading this live, it does fill quite often at 2 ticks better. And let me pause this. So, but you still have to pay attention to your fill, and it should get you, your initial stop loss should be right at 1 tick above the entry bar, or maybe right on it. So you're going to want to make sure that your stop is in a logical place. And of course, with the 2 targets, you can move those around. If you need to adjust and get out early, or move to break even right away, depending on market conditions, you can do that. So let me show you the particulars of this ATM real quick. So right here we have 2 contracts, right? Both initial stops are set at 15. Initials take profit is at 6 ticks. The second one is at 9. Now the actual stop strategy for that second contract is under here. You hit custom, that'll open this up. And I have it set to, once this contract hits 6 ticks, it pulls to +1. And I'm set to 101 and 0 for here, just to make sure that the auto trail doesn't kick in while I'm in my second contract. Now you can definitely do this with a single contract. You do not need to do double or 2 contracts. I just was playing with the 2 contract scalp. That's definitely more of an advanced thing. Initially, a single contract is what we should be doing, especially if you're trading the ES and you're going for your funding and your 3 and out. But I wanted to show you a single contract. This was a setup that I initially started playing with, and really it's just a 15 tick initial stop and an 8 tick profit target. Now the reason why I bumped up the profit target, because we're actually getting to fill 2 ticks better. So if it was a valid entry, the probabilities are very high we're going to hit 7 ticks anyway. But since we're 2 ticks better, going for 8 seemed like a good compromise to me, and we've lowered our risk. So if we hit full profit, we're getting out at $100 profit and only a $187.50 full stop. So if you had 2 full profits on this particular pullback entry at 8 ticks, you could easily recover your full stop within 2 trades. So that's a single contract setup with the pullback entry. I hope you enjoyed this video and you were able to learn how to do the pullback entry. Thank you.